to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Vero Beach. We are glad you are here with us today, whether in person or viewing it streaming online. My name is Rebecca Brack. I am a lifelong UU. Thank you, Mom and Dad. I am going to give a visual description of myself for those of you that can hear me but not see me. I have brown hair. I'm middle-aged. Yes, 45's halfway there. I have a blue and white dress on and a perpetually big smile. We are so glad you've decided to join us here today at the fellowship. Those of you that are new to us, we invite you to join us after fellowship in coffee hour. If you're new and you'd like to be recognized instead of being incognito, please grab a red mug so that we can make a special effort to greet you. If you'd like extra attention today, you can also grab a red mug and we'll make a special effort to greet you. I have just the one announcement today. There's been some up on above, but I'm going to bring special attention to 2 weeks from today, the worship committee meeting. It's a little bit about being a pulpit host. So that's a self-nominated role. We're not, if you think this is something that you'd like to do, you have ideas about leading a worship service, or you have worship experiences and information you'd like to share, join us for worship committee meeting 2 weeks at 11:30. I'm going to pass on a gentle reminder to silence your devices now. And may our worship begin with the introit. This morning's chalice reading is responsive. I'll read the bold and you'll read the italic. We believe in love.
Love is the teaching of this congregation.
We believe in truth.
The quest for truth is the sacrifice.
We believe in helping others.
And service is our prayer.
We believe in the sacredness of life.
Harmony with the divine.
For our shared ministry, we now light this flame of hope, love, and justice. Please rise and body your spirit to sing hymn number 345. The words are not only in your hymnal, but they'll be above. With joy, we claim the growing light.
Light, advancing My name is Ken Hurto. I'm so delighted to be back in my church. I also have the role here of being one of the associate ministers, stepping in from time to time to try to inspire you. I hope I succeed today. We are a free congregation dedicated to creating a beloved community. Each week, we have a moment we set aside to acknowledge the joys or the sorrows of our days. For our guests, this is one of the ways we create a safe space in which you can acknowledge your humanity. If you're bubbling over with joy, that's quite wonderful. If you're filled with sorrow, we will hold you in our hearts. As the ritual proceeds, Rebecca, if you would please, you are invited to come forward as the Spirit moves you and place a stone in the water. First, we add some flowers to indicate the beauties and the joys of living. And then we add some salt to acknowledge that sometimes we have some tears flowing down our cheek. And we need to acknowledge those as well. We do this ritual in silence, providing that safe space for you just to be who you are at this very moment. On your behalf, though, if you would like, Rebecca will add a stone on your behalf. Just raise your hand over here if you'd like a stone added. We've got one. How about this section? 2, 3, 4, 5. I counted 5, Rebecca. Oh, up here, 6. Thank you. I'm used to turning around and looking at the choir, but I forgot to look up there. In any event, so as the music begins, please come forward. Place a stone in one of the 3 stations we have before you. Let us be together in silence. One of the other ways we create the beloved community is to acknowledge each other by name. If you haven't got your name tag this morning, I urge you to get it when you go out. If you're a guest, we have temporary tags out in the foyer. Would you now rise and say hello to one another in an eager and wonderfully welcoming way? Introduce yourself to one another.
This is the time in our service we express our gratitude and commitment by sharing our financial resources. To contribute to the fellowship, please place your offering in an envelope from the back of the pews or donate to UUFVB by clicking on the QR code with your phone. You open up the photo app, you click on the yellow part, you can go through that. On most Sundays, our offering is shared with a worthy local organization that assists the underserved. For example, last Sunday, our Loose Plate offering raised $352 for Team Success Enterprises. But on the first Sunday of the month, all the offering goes to support the good, vital work we do here at the fellowship. For example, you might notice we have no baseboards in some parts of the fellowship. That's because we're going to get paint and new baseboards. And you might also notice that the pews are no longer pink. I can't remember a time when they weren't pink. They were pink for a very long time. And now they are not pink. So, you do see a return on these things. And the air's on and the lights are on. Your offering is now gratefully received.
I have for you this day 2 lessons. I honestly do not know who Russ DeBlue is. I looked, couldn't find him, but I have this wonderful reading from him, and I give him credit. It goes like this. On the first day, God created the dog and said, "Sit all day by the door of your house and bark at anyone who comes in or walks past. For this I will give you a lifespan of 20 years. The dog said, "That's a lot of barking. How about 10? I'll give you back the other 10. Well, God pondered, said, "Oh, okay, that's good." On the second day, God created the monkey and said, "Entertain people, do tricks, make them laugh. And for this I will give you a 20-year lifespan." And the monkey said, "Monkey tricks for 20 years? That's a pretty long time to perform. How about, like the dog, I give you 10 back?" And God again saw it was good. On the third day, God created the cow. "You must go into the field with the farmer all day long, and suffer under the sun, have calves, and give milk to support the farmer's family. And for this I will give you a lifespan of 60 years. Cow said, "Oh, that's kind of a tough life if you want me to live for 60 years. How about 20, and I'll give you back the other 40. And God agreed. It was good. On the fourth day, God created humans and said, "Eat, sleep, play, marry, and enjoy your life, and for this I will give you 20 years. But the humans said, "Only 20 years? Could you possibly give me my 20, the 40 the cow gave back to you, the 10 that the monkey gave back, and the 10 that the dog gave back? That makes 80 years. "Okay," said God, "you asked for it." So this is why our first 20 years, we eat, sleep, play, and enjoy ourselves. For the next 40 years, we slave under the sun to support our family. For the next 10 years, we perform monkey tricks to entertain the grandchildren. And the last 10 years, we sit on the front porch and bark at everyone. Life has now been explained to you. You don't need to thank me for this valuable information. I'm doing it as a public service. And if you're looking for me, I'll be rocking on the porch. On a perhaps little heavier vein, this piece from the American artist Edward Frankfurt, A Theological Debate. There is an old tale where the rabbi is asked by one of his students, "Why did God create atheists?" After a long pause, the rabbi finally responded with a soft but sincere voice, "God created atheists to teach us the most important lesson of them all, the lesson of true compassion." You see, when an atheist performs an act of charity, visits someone who is sick, helps someone in need, and cares for the world, she is not doing so because of some religious teaching. The atheist does not believe that God commanded that these acts be performed. In fact, the atheist doesn't believe in God at all. So the atheist's actions are based on a sense of morality. Look at the kindness he bestows on others, she bestows, simply because it's the right thing to do. When someone reaches out to you, you should never say, "I'll pray that God will help you." Instead, for that moment, you should become an atheist. Imagine there is no God who could help, and say, "I will help you." That's the end of our lessons for this morning.
There is a train that is bound for glory, but you won't find me on board. If you're wondering why, come and listen to the story of why I'm not on a first name basis with the Lord. When I was a little child, you're still pretty little, I used to read the gospel and I prayed at night up in my room. But then I went to college, a liberal one, and required reading included Schopenhauer, Kant, and David Hume. In a very short time, in a relative sense, I had to declare my major, and I chose philosophy. I can't really think, therefore I am that I could totally ace the midterm because I could already spell epistemology by my sophomore year. Still living in the dorm, I began to doubt and ponder the very existence of you-know-who. I had become a godless heathen. I prefer the term agnostic. Whatever. Profound as Bertrand Russell, existential as Camus. Give me that old skepticism. Give me that logical positivism. Dialectical materialism's good enough for me. Oh, have you worshipped in Einstein's theory that space-time is curvilinear, not flat? Or speculate each moment of your life is as random as Schrodinger's cat? Someday I stand here as a non-believer, but I'm tempted to change my ways. 'Cause recently, while I was thinking deeply, I realized agnostics don't have any holidays. There is a train that is bound for glory, but you won't find me on board. If you're wondering why, come and listen to the story of why I'm not on a first name basis with the Lord.
Bravo. I was reared, I prefer that to raised. I was reared in a Lutheran, church-going, non-religious family. That is to say, the only evidence of piety in our household was the lighting of the Advent wreath at Christmas time and drinking glügg Christmas Eve. But going to church was just part of my life, an unquestioned given. And in this Lutheran church, there was a ritual we followed, and every week we would stand up at one point to recite the Apostles' Creed. For those of you who don't know, that's a statement of belief commonly found in Protestant and Catholic congregations. So the time came, I rose from the pew, "I believe in God," I said, and stopped. The congregation went on with the rest of the creed, and I just sat there politely, or stood there politely. When I sat down, my best friend sitting next to me looked at me and said, "Are you okay?" And I said, "I don't believe this stuff." Well, I wasn't the first person who ever said such a thing. Falling away of faith, having a life crisis of faith, is a common part of our growing up years, our maturation, our just being human. Historian Houston Smith wrote a magnificent book on world religions, which I commend to you. And in that book, he said something that has stayed with me all these many years. He spoke of human beings longing for something transcendent and fulfilling, searching for a God that does not disappoint. Here I am, all those many years since that first moment in the Lutheran Church, and I'm still searching for a God that does not disappoint. I need to tell you, this is a very confessional sermon. This is my story. This is how I figured things out. And if you find yourself thinking similarly, that's fine. And if you find yourself thinking differently, maybe even disagreeing with me, that too is fine. We are a free congregation. That'll give us something to talk about, don't you think? So here's how I've made peace with my dilemmas. I turned to the 19th century German philosopher, Immanuel Kant. He is an incredibly brilliant man whose philosophy would take months to explain. He was also a man of habit, one might even say obsessively so. Every day he had a do list, and every day at 3:30 he would go for a walk. And he was so reliable in that habit, they set the town's clock on the basis of where he was at in his walk. That's not important, just amusing. What is important is what he said. Two things fill the mind with ever new and increasing admiration and awe. The more often we reflect steadily upon them, the starry heavens above and the moral law within. When was the last time you felt awe? Have you ever felt that deep longing for something more than this existence? Have you felt an intense longing? Well, here's how I've worked it out. Since that fateful day, with the God that did disappoint, I've been searching, and I mean no disrespect, but this skeptical agnostic tilts towards atheism. At least functionally, I'm an atheist. Here's why. Everything said about God, or gods, or goddesses, or sky gods, or the gods of nature, impress me as nothing more than the manifest projections of human hope and fear. I tilt towards atheism because of all the terrible ways God is used. Consider all the hokum around "you are in our prayers" after some great tragedy like the Texas floods or the latest shooting. We'll hold you in our prayers. This is an insult to those in sorrow. I tilt towards atheism after all the pious kneeling in football fields where the coach gets the young men around and they pray to God for their team to win. That's at best a sacrilege. I tilt because of all the promises that the slings and arrows of our daily existence are just a prelude to some great glory in the by and by. A life after this one will be filled with joy and comfort. And I'm sorry, I think that delusion. I tilt towards atheism because of all the declarations that the sorrows are signs of God's displeasure and punishment of us. That to me is nothing but manipulative cruelty. I tilt because of all the threats of damnation to those who do not worship your God in your way. This is an arrogant excuse for hatred. But worst of all, I suppose, confirming my functional atheism, are all those politicians who will call upon God to be on their side of the next war. To me, that's blasphemy. A parishioner asked me one day, "Ken, do you believe in God?" I said, "Well, tell me which God you believe in, and then I'll tell you why I don't." Actually, it was good pastoral work. She was much comforted by that answer. 16th century French philosopher Michel de Montaigne rightly observed, "Man is certainly stark raving mad. He cannot make a worm, and yet he will be making gods by the dozen." You don't have to be an atheist to realize God, in all its names and forms, is a troubling idea, but mostly for its ineptitude, or as Woody Allen put it, God is an underachiever. So here I am all these years later, not relying on God to solve my issues. I remember this wonderful proverb from the Hebrew Scriptures. When the storm rises up and threatens to sink your little boat, you must do two things. First, pray to God as if it all depended on God to save you, and row to the shore. Here's where I wanted to be. There may be something, someone, somewhere, that is worthy of the name God that will not disappoint. But I don't know it, haven't found it, and every representation I find always proves to me to be puny before the manifest wonder, mystery that we are here at all, before the glory of the starry heavens above. So what does inspire this particular atheist to wonder? The starry heavens above. This picture, interestingly enough, is from the Vero digital telescope, newly online. And that picture represents an estimated 10 million galaxies. Those aren't stars, those are galaxies. And that's of only 0.005% of the cosmos. How big is your God? Anyway, so I begin my days with a simple prayer, a silent thanksgiving to whomever, whatever, that I'm here at all, that you're here at all. And then I call up an image from NASA, space image. I'm often delighted and baffled by what I see there. The amazing pictures stir me with awe and humble me at the same time. Stephen Hawking rightly observed that we are just an advanced breed of monkeys on a minor planet of a very average star, but we can understand the universe, and that makes us very special. I'm not an astronomer, But consider all the God talk with these facts of the cosmos. It is reported that it's 13.8 billion years old, 93 billion light years in breadth, and expanding at a rate greater than the speed of light. People used to smile years ago when Carl Sagan would talk about billions and billions of stars. Well, today it's estimated the Milky Way alone contains an estimated 400 billion stars. And the best guess today is that there's something like 2 trillion galaxies in the observable universe. That is to say, there's probably more, but their light has not yet arrived to our knowing. Consider that a light year is about 6 trillion miles. Our Milky Way is 600,000 trillion miles away. At the speed of light, it would take us approximately 100,000 years to cross it. The nearest star to our sun is Proxima Centauri, located 4.25 light years away, or about 27 trillion miles. The nearest galaxy to ours, visible to our eye, is Andromeda, a spiral galaxy located approximately 2.5 million light years away, or 14.7 quadrillion miles. Or consider time. The Earth is understood to be 4.5 billion years old. If we were to condense those 4.5 billion years into a 24-hour time period, this is kind of what you would see. And you'll notice that humans do not appear until the last 1 minute and 17 seconds. Can you see why I think getting on a football field and praying to God for your team to win is a sacrilege? Now, I understand words like billions and trillions. They make sense to me. But I have no experience, none, that allows me to really know what that means. I have no idea how far a light year is. I really don't. But that we can measure it is truly awesome to me. Which leads me to say that the Jews had it right. Anyone who purports to know God doesn't. That's sort of like they say about quantum mechanics. Anybody who thinks they understand quantum mechanics doesn't. We are at best, we are better off without any name to God. If you want to worship something, worship the starry heavens. The second thing that stirs me to awe, fills me with awe, is a contradiction. People, human beings, persnickety creatures. We are amazing, absolutely amazing. And we can figure out all this stuff, but more importantly for now is we can know inwardly what is right and wrong. It is in our nature to follow the moral law. Oh, you will rightly object. Ken, can you look at the newspaper any day? There's so many terrible things happening. So many the result of people doing bad things, making immoral choices. But that's the point. Immorality is the aberration. It's a perversion of our nature. For a long while, we Unitarian Universalists have argued there is an inherent worthiness to everyone, to all souls. Our faith teaches that everyone is salvageable. Now, indeed, right now, what is happening is there are many who would at least get the press to deny that truth. here in our own community, in this nation, there's something going on that is contrary to our nature, and yet elemental to it. There's something about us that wants to defy what we know to be right and good. Perhaps we're all sinners. There are endless examples of humans who are simply broken with malfunctioning moral compass. They create mayhem. They destroy lives. They are cruel to the innocent. We call that evil. And there's no denying that that too is part of what human beings can be. But that's the whole point. I repeat it. Immorality is the aberration. My dear colleague, former interim minister of this congregation, says, we are frail, we are flawed, we are effed up, and we are fabulous. That is our condition. But there's no guarantee to our fabulousness, which is probably why we have churches. At least one reason to come. We know that we're not often the best that we can be. The good we do not. The good we do not. The evil we abhor, we do. I belong to this community of faith as one who is not yet perfect. I'm filled with hope and goodness, but in some ways, I too am broken. I'm insecure, I'm lonely, I'm lazy, and if I told you any more, you'd have me arrested. Nonetheless, like you, part of me's really pretty darn good. I come to church to be reminded of both of those qualities. I need to be welcomed in my fragility, forgiven in my infidelity, and reminded that I am, after all, pretty good. And when that happens, life is darn awesome. May I do a quick aside on American theology? Since the 16th century Reformation, there are two theories of human nature and human community. At the liberal end, where we are, we affirm the light in all souls. Just because you are, you matter. And we teach everyone must matter or no one matters. Now, this contrasts with a pervasive and pernicious idea that there are two kinds of people, the saved and the damned. We can trace it back into our history, but that's for another time. The good guys, bad guys portrayal is deeply embedded in our whole way of looking at the world. White hats, black hats, and so forth. Many truly believe that the world is binary. There's a world of us, the good folks, and them, the bad folks. To our side, we're friendly, and to our others, we could care less. Now, to illustrate this, we need turn no further than to listen to the broken man, the hate-filled, insecure, mean-spirited narcissist that is Mr. Trump, and many of his followers. Every day they rail against any who are different, any who differ in kind, lifestyle, or opinion. We need look no further than how the bully is turning our government into a persecution instrument, a revenging machine, devoted to purging what he calls the scum, the lowlifes, the inept, the lazy, and the stupid, or any who differ with him. Lock them all up, ship them to the Sudan. We need see no further how any who fail to kiss the ring are damned to some kind of hell. And we need look no further than the cruelty of ICE, or the meanness of the president's words, who in the honor of the 4th of July declared he hates over half the American people. This is perhaps why being in the free church is so challenging. We disavow the binary. We reject us-them thinking and claims. We embrace the noble idea of everyone's integrity, the core to every soul, and that we, knowing the moral law, can come together and create a good life for everyone. And maybe it's just defensive, because when you don't do that, there is truly hell to pay. I got carried away with my words and I forgot what I wanted to show you. Okay. Now, lest you think coming to church is a waste of time or a luxury, we need our church to teach us the moral law within, to remind us that it is there, and to give us ways to be inspired to recover it and to live lives of decency at every opportunity. We need the church to help us remember to bear witness to the worthiness of all people, to affirm the decency of all human beings, to teach again and anew that if there is a God, it is a God that created us to love one another. We need the church to teach us to live by our teaching, love for all. You perhaps recognize this image. Our Unitarian Universalist is the Church of the Continuing Reformation, and a year ago, our General Assembly adopted this as a new statement of how we think of ourselves. And you'll notice at the very center is our chalice with the flame of love. It's to embrace that flame of love in everything we do every day, and it's not easy. We fail as often as we succeed. A parishioner said to me some years ago, "You know, Ken, I come to church to recharge my spiritual batteries, to reground myself in our faith, so I can go out there and bear witness to it in this mean-spirited, bad old world." I said, "You know, I think that's a pretty good reason to go to church." My dear ones, the central question of being a spiritual person is to heed that which inspires you to awe. I suggest to you to look up and look in. Marvel that you or anything exists, and delight that you can know that, and know that you can live and embrace love in all that you do. The central question calls us to use our freedom to live our lives dedicated to goodness. It's often difficult, and yet it is a reason to get out of bed in the morning, to pray daily for reconciliation in our lives and of our lives. And I suggest to you, if you do these two things, God will not disappoint. May it so be. Amen.
Please join us in our closing hymn, number 287, Faith of the Larger Liberty. Rise as you are willing and able.
Source of the light.
now reach out, take the hand of your neighbor. In the embrace of this touch, you feel the pulse of hope, the throbbing of love, the empowering of action. Our worship ends and the service begins. Give all whom you meet, not hell, not damnation, but love and courage. I transfer the flame of our chalice into your hands and your hearts. Rebecca's going to do that. Now go forth, be of good cheer. Life awaits. Be kind enough to enjoy the postlude by sitting at this point.